ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
We're not talking about war. We're not going to war. We will not have people at risk in that way. We will be able to hold Bashar Assad accountable without engaging in troops on the ground or any other prolonged kind of effort in a very limited, very targeted, very short-term effort that degrades his capacity to deliver chemical weapons without assuming responsibility for Syria's civil war. That is exactly what we're talking about doing. Unbelievably small, limited kind of effort.
Folks, it's an itsy bitsy, teensy, weensy little launch of a rocket. It's not war. This isn't war. Hey, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. If I begin to try to tell you how good it is to be back after almost a week away, celebrating Rosh Hashanah, and all my Jewish friends who did the same, a happy, healthy New Year. But I got to tell you, being away, it gnaws at my very inner soul, especially with stuff like this. That's our Secretary of State telling us, basically, debating whether it's going to be itsy-bitsy or teensy-weensy. And it's not war. No, raining rockets down on a sovereign nation, that's not war. I mean, what? This is like the Bizarro World on a Seinfeld episode. It's insanity. Now, through his insanity and probably his incompetence, John Kerry may have actually accidentally stepped in it, folks, and come up with a possible solution, a way out for the Obama administration and a way out for Assad. He was asked in London today at that very same press conference what Assad could do, if anything, to avoid war. Now, again, there's that word. We know this isn't a war. This is like a little fun game. Hey, drop the rockets on Assad. And here's what Kerry said, and this is cut number 25.
He could turn over every single bit of his chemical weapons to the international community in the next week. Turn it over, all of it, without delay, and allow a full and total accounting for that. But he isn't about to do it, and it can't be done, obviously.
Well, if it can't be done, why'd you say that's how we could avoid the war? Okay, hand over all your chemical weapons, put them under international control. And guess what? Assad said, hey, okay. I'll do it. I'm interested in this. Russia is working on this now. This is a whole new thing. This was there's one headline, Slate.com, a piece by Joshua Keating. The headline is, will John Kerry's ill-advised ad-lib, which is what you just heard, that's what he's referring to, stop the attack that Barack Obama's ill-advised ad-lib set in motion? And that, of course, was, that'll be a red line. But, of course, I found out last week that Obama didn't draw the red line. No. That was your son in kindergarten with a crayon. He drew the red line, not Barack Obama. Remember that? Just don't forget that. That's like itsy bitsy teensy weensy, and this isn't a war. It all makes sense if you're living in the Obama nation, in a bizarro world. Just keep that in mind. Wow. And then, folks, as if that's not bizarre and nutty enough, you know, we would become Al-Qaeda's Air Force 2 days before 9/11. Here's a story from Breitbart. The village of Malula in Syria has been taken over by Syrian rebels. Our friends, the Syrian rebels associated with Al-Qaeda, who have stormed the Christian center and offered local Christians a choice, much like John Kerry has now given a choice to Assad. It's a world full of choices. It's so bizarre. This choice is convert to Islam or get beheaded. Now, these must be the bad Syrian rebels, you see. We're not going to help the bad Syrian rebels. No. We're only going to help the good Syrian rebels. And the bad Syrian rebels, they represent an itsy-bitsy, teensy-weensy, and they're not real. I mean, they may chop your head off, but that's not like war. You know, that's a game. And Barack Obama never painted a red line. That was your son in kindergarten. You're following all this? It's a happy world. Wow. I mean, okay, so it's either convert or be beheaded. A resident of the town said the rebels shouted, Allah Akbar. But that's not bad, because last week on Tuesday before I left here, I played you John McCain saying Allah Akbar is like Christians saying thank God. Remember? He said that to Brian Kilmeade when Kilmeade said, look, these rebels, listen to what they say when they shoot the plane out of the air. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And McCain said, well, Brian, I wonder if you'd have a problem with the Christians saying thank God, because that's all they're saying. Really, Senator McCain? Really? So when they stormed the Christian Center and threatened to behead the Christians and shout Allah Akbar, that's what a Christian would do, but only he would say, thank God. And Barack Obama didn't paint any red line. That's your son in kindergarten. Remember that. And it's an itsy-bitsy, teensy-weensy action. And it's not a war. It's a game. You following me on all this? Because I'm not finished yet. All right. The New York Times, hacked by the Syrian rebels hackers, by the way. The New York Times says the brutality of the Syrian rebels poses a dilemma in the West. But folks, when we saw that video that the New York Times gave us from a year ago the other day, and they put out the video, but they blacked out the part where the rebels, must be the bad rebels again, not our friends, the good rebels, lined up the Syrian soldiers on the ground and gave some spiel and shot them in the head, execution style, and then threw their bodies naked into a mass grave. But you see, that wasn't really real. That's not war. That's a game. And Barack Obama didn't draw a red line. Your son or daughter in kindergarten did it with their crayons. You following this? You getting this? We could do a whole show like this. I wouldn't mind. By the way, 855-777-9660. Wait a minute. I'm not finished. Oh, I wish I were. Remember when Susan Rice went out and lied about Benghazi? Remember that on 5 shows? Count them, 5 Sunday shows? Well, I guess she really didn't lie. She certainly didn't impugn her integrity. No, because the White House, guess who they're sending out now to make the case for attacking Syria? Susan Rice, that's right, because she didn't lie. You were just hearing her wrong. It's not a war. It's an itsy-bitsy, teensy-weensy strike of missiles and rockets. Obama didn't make the red line. Your son or daughter in kindergarten did it with their crayons. And when the Christians get a choice, either convert to Islam or get beheaded, and they shout Allah Akbar, it's the same as Christians shouting, thank God. Aren't you glad I'm back? Aren't you glad you have this history lesson, this current events update, all wrapped into one to put things in the proper perspective for you? You thought, we're faced with a war here. We may be going to war, okay? And we may be killing people and dropping bombs, and, you know, this is serious, and the rebels, they're our friends, and we got to defeat Hitler. I mean, Assad. Well, it's the same thing now, right? And Obama had given a red line. No, that's all a bunch of nonsense, man. Now you know the truth. Now you know the real story. And I'm glad that I was here to bring it to you. Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, and do we have a show for you? Wait till you hear what RFK Jr., as Elaine and Seinfeld, it all goes back to Seinfeld, would say about JFK Jr., had to say about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and Governor Cuomo when he wasn't keeping score of all the women he was sleeping with and rating them based on their sex acts with him. That's right. RFK Jr. Oh, we got that. We got a resident of Newark, an African-American female, pleading with the media, please, cover the murders. Understand who Cory Booker is. He stinks. He's lousy. We're afraid to walk the streets in this town, and he's running for Senate. Oh, we got it all for you here, folks. And a documentary on Billie Jean King. Oh, yeah. Where else could you find it? When we come back, Malcolm Hoenlein, Executive Vice Chair, Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. I'm sure some people out there would say neocon. Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at Aftershock911.com. Aftershock911.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Most difficult obstacle they have to overcome is that if we go in on the side of the rebels, we'll be going in on the side of Al-Qaeda, and most of us think we've been fighting Al-Qaeda for 10 or 12 years now. So it's a hard obstacle, or a big obstacle to overcome. They may overcome it in the Senate if it becomes a partisan vote. Everybody's trying to say this isn't Iraq, but it also isn't a good situation when we're going in allied to Al-Qaeda. I don't know if it'll pass in the House, though. I really have my doubts about whether it passes in the House.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Senator Rand Paul yesterday, making the rounds on the Sunday shows. Joining us now to talk about the impending military action, possible military action, or maybe Assad accepts Kerry's offer here, is Malcolm Hoenlein, Executive Vice Chair, Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Hello, sir. How are you, Malcolm? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Steve.
Thank you
Good
very
to be
much.
with you.
Thank you. Okay, so your organization stands on what should happen here. Should the Congress okay the president's action? Should they go in? Should the president go in without congressional approval if need be?
Well, we certainly hope that this can be a unified stance, whatever decision is taken, and one that sends a clear message to the countries in the region, and particularly to Iran and its allies, Hezbollah and Hamas and others, who are going to be watching this very carefully. And if they see that the red lines mean nothing, and if the determination of the president can be negated, and the message to all of them will be very clear. And of course, particular concern is the Iranian nuclear weapons program, which also is a red line. So our hope is that we can have a unified stand that addresses this issue. We hope a military action can be avoided, but we have to show that that there's credibility behind our words, because the only language that terrorists understand is strength. And in Syria, as I just heard the comment before by Senator Paul, neither side is good, neither option is good. But to allow the use of weapons of mass destruction, of chemical weapons, which have been banned for decades, would be the worst possible signal.
But you feel that we know for sure? I mean, I keep hearing from John Kerry that he was a prosecutor, and he doesn't have to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. But Assad said, "Show me the proof." People in Congress that I've heard from have said they were more apt to vote yes before they got their confidential briefings, because they don't see the proof that this was Assad or ordered by Assad.
Well, I think it's a legitimate question. I think it's a responsibility of the administration to make a credible case to the members of Congress. I think that members of Congress also have to take courageous stands. It can't be just what the polls show, and understandably, the American people, all of us, do not want to get engaged in another war, another extended battle in the region. And this critical question, whether it'll be resolved by the testimony of the UN inspectors, who, for some reason, are taking so long to come out with a clear statement. And I'm not sure that even when we get it, it'll say who's responsible.
No, that's not their mandate.
They're just going to tell us that, in fact, it was sarin gas and that they have all the symptoms, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not sure that there's anything that clarifies it beyond the evidence that the administration has till now. And if Congress members are not convinced, then they're not going to vote for it. And I know that the tide is, of course, against it, but we have to think beyond the immediate moment and the natural response to this. And we're not pushing for a particular action. We didn't endorse any particular legislation.
You mean the conference? Okay.
Right. And despite what Pat Buchanan or others say, none of that is true. What we have said is that we believe there has to be a clear message. If we don't, look, you have North Korea, you have many other countries who have these kind of WMDs. By the way, it should remind us of why everybody should be applauding what Israel did, taking out Syria's nuclear reactor, right? Everybody was quick to condemn it, as they did with Iraq, but everybody afterwards can sigh a big sigh of relief, because Israel removed what could have been an even more dangerous threat to the current situation.
Absolutely. Well, much as they should have applauded Israel when they did in Iraq, what they did. But let me ask you a question. if Israel and Saudi Arabia, who has, so much of our most sophisticated weapons, I don't even know if they ever picked one up and used it. Why don't they do it? Why doesn't Israel, who's perfectly capable and I'm sure perfectly willing, but would never be allowed to be a member of a coalition that includes the United States for political reasons, why doesn't Israel do it and Saudi Arabia do it? Or, why is it the United States? The Israel was told by the U.S. reportedly, don't you dare go after Iran, because if Hezbollah is unleashed in the U.S., we will hold you, Israel, responsible, which is a sick thought process. But having said that, Syria and Hezbollah and Iran are all saying all bets are off if Israel bombs Syria. So we're running the same risk of it happening now.
We're running the same risk, but Israel is not the issue here in this case, nor is it Israel that is, I think, frankly, the one that is facing the great threat. I think some of our other allies, Israel will defend itself. There's no party now. Even Hezbollah can rain some rockets, and Syria knows full well that Assad's last day will be the day he attacks, if he tries to use a chemical weapon or tries to attack Israel. And even Iran knows that this will be the trigger that will unleash the response that everybody is hoping and waiting for. But again, as you said, it wants Israel to do. In this case, it can't be Israel. Israel should. This changes the nature of the conflict. Then it gets into the whole Arab-Israeli issue, etc. Do most of the Arab countries hope Israel will do it? Yes. Do they hope that they'll do Iran? Yes, they've told me that. But you can't shift every situation onto this. The international community has a responsibility, and it shouldn't be just the U.S. When you see 100,000 people dead, not just the 1,400, and we were silent all this time, there were at least 14 times that chemical weapons were used.
Well, that's the
Where was everybody?
Well, that's the
Why
argument being made against the president right now.
An American official said to me, only 10 or 12 were killed each time. I said, what? What kind of an answer?
Who said that to you, Malcolm?
A very good guy who I think was not thinking about what the response would be. But what he was saying is, look, that didn't rise to the level.
Right, because not enough people were killed. Only if more. But Malcolm, I'm up against a hard break,
okay.
but I know you got a meeting. I thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Take care, Malcolm Hoenlein, ladies and gentlemen. That's interesting. An administration official said to him, chemical weapons were used in the past, but only 10 or 12 people were killed. That's news right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
You know, over 1,400 people were gassed. Over 400 of them were children. This is not something we've fabricated. This is not something that we are using as an excuse for military action. As I said last night, I was elected to end wars, not start them.
Oh, yeah. But doesn't he speak like a man with conviction? Like a leader you would follow into war? Someone you would believe? Someone who is passionate about this whole thing? There were 4,000 people. I mean, come on. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, folks. You heard Malcolm Hoenlein of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations give his case why he thinks we should be going into Syria. Joining us now is my friend Joel Rosenberg, former advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, author of Damascus Countdown. You know, I don't want to get to prophetic stuff here, but Joel, you're getting a little too prophetic for me here. And we welcome in Joel Rosenberg. Hey, Joel, how are you?
Doing great, Steve. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, we had you on when the book came out. The book is just a wonderful book, and it's scary. And now here we are, you know, all these months later, and here we are dealing with us possibly bombing Damascus. But you don't think that we should go in?
Well, look, let's start with the fictional premise of the book and then compare it to what's going on right now. The Damascus Countdown, which is about to come out in paperback, it focuses on an American president who is trying to pressure an Israeli prime minister not to launch a preemptive military strike to take out Iran's nuclear facilities. But the Israeli prime minister concludes that he's dealing with an American president who is weak, dithering, vacillating, and not able to protect either American interest or Israeli interests, given the situation going on in the Middle East. So Israel hits anyway, in defiance of the United States, because it feels like it's facing a nuclear holocaust. And then Iran teams up with Syria to retaliate using weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
That's the fictional premise of Damascus Countdown.
So let's fast forward to reality now. Yeah.
Well, clearly we're not there yet. But given where we are with President Obama being perceived widely in Washington broadly across the United States, and even more broadly across the world, he is perceived right now as weak, dithering, vacillating, unclear how to proceed, whether to proceed, what to do. There are a number of implications of that, but one of which is that the actual Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is looking at this, and he and his team have to be thinking, if President Obama is having this much trouble with how to handle limited strikes in Syria, there is very little chance that this president is going to know how to handle the much larger existential strategic threat, which is the Iran nuclear program, which could lead, in reality, Prime Minister Netanyahu to decide that he's alone and that Israel's going to have to take preemptive action soon. So that's the context that we're in. Now, if you ask me about my own personal views, look, I'm an evangelical Christian. I'm from a Jewish background. My name is Rosenberg. When I hear about people being gassed to death, I want to hit this guy, Assad, and I want to punish him. But my problem is this. I don't have confidence that President Obama and his team have the wisdom and the trustworthiness and the steady hand to handle this thing right. And I'm afraid by lurching into a military action in Syria, you could set into motion things that could be much, much worse than what the current situation is, even though this current situation is horrific.
Absolutely.
The worst scenario is that Al-Qaeda comes to power and has the weapons of mass destruction, the chemical weapons, in their hands.
Well, let me stop you there, and let's talk about these wonderful rebels. Reports today in the village of Malola, it's been taken over by Syrian rebels associated with Al-Qaeda. They stormed the residences and town centers, and as they shouted Allah Akbar, which John McCain says is the same as a Christian saying thank God, by the way, and they threatened Christians with conversion to Islam or beheading. I mean, no one. That's just kind of like an inconvenient truth.
Yeah, look, you've got evil versus evil here. That's the challenge. I'm not saying there aren't any rebels that are half decent and want a free.
Yeah, but who the heck are they and where are they?
But they're a small percentage, and they're a shrinking percentage. You have the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee the other day. He said that 50% plus of the rebels are Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda allies, and that number is increasing day by day. Why? Because Al-Qaeda types are being drawn into this battle, which they see as an opportunity to take on the United States and give us a bloody nose or worse. So, look, it's a terrible situation, and by getting involved militarily when you don't have a plan and you don't have the confidence of your country, the Congress, or the world, and you're pretty much all by yourself, President Obama has the risk of making the situation much worse, of toppling Assad, which in a different environment would be good, but in this environment, it really could be that Al-Qaeda takes over. And then what do you do when Al-Qaeda suddenly is in control of the storehouses of chemical and biological weapons? I mean, that is a nightmare scenario. And then we've squandered all of this American political clout in the Middle East, and we still haven't dealt with Iran, which is a much larger, much more important issue.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wrote Damascus Countdown.
We're talking to Joel Rosenberg, former advisor to Bibi Netanyahu, author of Damascus Countdown. When's it out in paperback?
Comes out, it's starting to show up in stores now. It'll be there in about a week.
Great timing. Well, let me ask you about this, and of course, as an evangelical Christian, and you wrote about this, and you posted 23 pages of study notes, and you've been asked about this by a member of the U.S. Congress, a member of the Canadian Parliament, about Syria and about biblical prophecies. And so explain to me Isaiah 17 and Jeremiah 49, and the question you've been asked, how does that relate? Does that foretell the destruction of Damascus? And keep it as simple as possible.
As simple as possible, absolutely. And that is woven into the novel, by the way, is imagining how that might play out. But the short version is, yes, Isaiah 17 and Jeremiah 49 are biblical prophecies that deal with the destruction one day of the entire city of Damascus, that it would be utterly destroyed, that no one would live there, that would be burned with fire, and all of its men of war, quote unquote, will be silenced. Look, that's a sobering thought, and it's an end times prophecy, meaning it's something that hasn't happened yet. It's eschatological. It will happen in the end of days. But people are starting to ask themselves, is it possible that those prophecies are going to happen soon, somehow related to the current crisis? The short version, Steve, is I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think anyone could possibly know, because the Bible doesn't say exactly when it's going to happen. We know it hasn't happened yet. Damascus is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in history, right? It was first mentioned in the Bible in the book of Genesis. So that really dials way back, Genesis chapter 14. And it's a very important city even up to this very second that you and I are talking.
Let me ask you a question. Does the Muslim, the Ayatollahs in Iran, for instance, who believe that Armageddon will bring the missing imam or the prophet, whatever, I think imam, and then they'll all go to heaven. So they want the world destroyed. They want chaos. Does this play into their scripture at all, any way, shape, or form? I mean, I know they go by the Quran, not by the Bible or the New Testament, but does it intertwine at all in your view?
It's interesting that you asked that, Steve, because it might. You're right. In the Quran, it doesn't talk about these specific end times prophecies, but Shia Muslims do believe that there's an end time scenario in which their Messiah, called the 12th Imam or the Mahdi, comes back. And the conquering of Damascus does play a role, an element in their prophetic scenario. So that's why you have so much interest right now, obviously geopolitically, obviously this humanitarian relief crisis. You've got 7 million Syrians are fleeing for their lives. 1 out of every 3 people in the country have fled their homes and villages, 2 million of which have crossed the borders. So this is a terrible thing. Then you've got Shia eschatology, and you have Jewish and Christian eschatology in the Old Testament talking about a catastrophe happening in Damascus. And you're right. At my website, joelrosenberg.com, I've posted these 23 pages of notes so people can study it for themselves, print them out, and assess it for themselves.
Yeah. I'll tell you, very, very interesting conversation. Joel, as always, a pleasure to speak with you, sir. Thank you, and good luck with the paperback version of Damascus Countdown.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be with you.
My pleasure. Joel Rosenberg, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I want to open the phones up, because that's the kind of guy I am. I want to open the phones. I crack myself up sometime because no one else laughs. Someone's got to laugh at what I say. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. You believe any of that, the biblical scripture with regard to Damascus? Do you think there's something bigger at work here than just John Kerry and Barack Obama and President Assad? Do you think we should bomb Syria? What about this proposal? Is this a way out for everybody? Kerry says put your chemical weapons under international control. Russia says that's an interesting idea. Assad says, okay, I think I like it. Is that a way out? If he agrees, should we take this bombing run off the table? I want to hear from you. Again, 855-777-9660. No matter where you're watching or listening to the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. Interesting, yesterday was... the kickoff on Thursday was the kickoff to the NFL. Now, I'm a sports guy and did a lot of stuff in sports. First 15 years of my career was on the air doing sports, and I never knew this. Did anybody watch the Thursday night opening game between the Ravens and the Broncos? It was delayed by lightning for about 35 minutes. So they're coming. The cameras, I guess, were bored. So they watched. They were waiting for the Ravens to come out of their locker room, clubhouse, and they were saying, hey, 2 minutes to kickoff or 5 minutes to kickoff. You better get out. So they showed them coming out. It was a camera, and some of the guys were getting patted down. And at first I didn't. My son said, no, maybe that's like a guy who works for the team. He's a trainer or something, and it's like a good luck pat or a good luck rub or something, you know what I mean, for luck. And then I said, no, look at this. This is an official. And he's like almost wanding him. He's patting the guy down. What is he looking for? I couldn't imagine what he's looking for. And it never dawned on me that these guys get patted down looking for banned substances such as stickum or grease, something that'll make them slippery, or something that'll give them an advantage if they're a receiver to catch the ball, some sticky stuff that they could put on their hands or on their uniform and then put it on their hands. So a lot of them get patted down. I think it's arbitrary, and it's just every other player or every couple of players. But I never saw that before. So I went to Facebook, went to Twitter, and I got all these responses. And I don't know. I was never aware of it. One other sports thing that's bothering me, and this has bothered me for a long time, but now, come on. Ichiro Suzuki, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. 4,000 combined hits between Japan and here in the United States. How long has he been in the United States? He's been in the United States for almost ever, right? I mean, he played with Seattle. Now he's with the Yankees. Hideki Kuroda, right? Kuroda pitched with the Dodgers. He's been in the United States since 07, maybe 08. We're in 2013. In the case of Ichiro, I'm so, and Hideki Matsui did the same thing. But in the case of Ichiro, and this is to me the proof in the pudding, don't tell me these guys don't understand English. These guys, in my opinion, I think they have a translator written into their contract. Maybe it's their brother-in-law, maybe it's their friend, and they probably get them paid $500,000 a year or $100,000 a year. They're part of their contract, and they're their translator. You mean Ichiro can't answer a question? He can't answer a question in English? I don't get that, because he was understanding the questions yesterday. He scored the winning run on a wild pitch against the Red Sox in the fourth game of a 4-game series between the Yankees and Boston at Yankee Stadium. Yankees salvaging that final game. And then they interview on the postgame show on the Yes Network Ichiro. But when I say interview, they ask a question. He understands the question. And then he gives like a 2-word answer in Japanese to the translator. And the translator answers it. And then Ichiro goes back to the near-empty dugout. And who's there? A couple of players, including Brett Gardner of the Yankees. Because Gardner and another Yankee were going to pour the Gatorade over Ichiro's head during the interview. They never got around to doing that. So then I see Gardner and Ichiro talking. They're talking. They must have been talking because their lips were moving and they were laughing. They must have understood each other. There was no translator there. Come on, guys. This is disrespectful almost. At least to me it is. So I posted that at Facebook, and what do I get? You just don't like foreign players. You're just being too rough on him because he's not American. No. I mean, how many years do you have to be in the country? And he obviously understands the question. And then in the clubhouse, there, Yankee pitcher Hiroki Kuroda. Again, he's been here at least 5-6 years. Same thing, translator. Now, maybe some of these guys need it and some don't. But in the case of Ichiro, who played all those years with Seattle, now he's with the Yankees. He understands the question, doesn't need a translator. Then he goes to the dugout. He's talking to a teammate, but he needs that translator to give the answer. Are you kidding me? What a scam. I think it's a scam. I don't know about you, but that's just my opinion. Otherwise, the Jets were lucky to win. The Giants, I don't know what they were. They were lucky to be in the game. All those turnovers, terrible play, and they only lost by, 5 points? So I don't know what's wrong with Dallas either, but the Giants were awful. Jets were lucky. I said that. What other game did I watch? Well, New England. New England squeaked by Buffalo, right? So a very interesting day, opening day opening Sunday, I should say, for the NFL. And I wonder if any of you folks have any thoughts on what I said about the Yankees and Ichiro and all the rest of them. I'll tell you this, in the next hour, we are going to speak with Alan Dershowitz about the legality of bombing Syria. Now, John Kerry today said, it's not a war. No, it's not a war. We'll ask Alan Dershowitz if legally, constitutionally, it's considered a war or not. We'll also be speaking to a senior pastor at the First Baptist Church of Brandon, Mississippi. They were going to build a 110-foot tall cross, but elected officials didn't want them to because they were afraid it would offend Muslims. But of course, not offend Jews, because Jews couldn't care less, but you don't want to offend Muslims. No, you got to go out of your way not to offend Muslims, especially by building a cross. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. Also, wait till you hear what a woman in Newark, New Jersey, had to say to a reporter from 1010 Wins Radio here in New York, one of the all-news stations. And our friend at one of the places that had this, I'll find it, said that 1010 Wins didn't even run. Okay, was this Noel? No, this was PJ Gladnick. 1010 Wins Radio had this interview with this woman, African-American woman in Newark, saying, you got to help us. People are dying and getting murdered on the streets of Newark every day. And if they don't die on the street, they're taken to the hospital and they die, they don't count that as a murder. In Newark, they count it as something else. The media is ignoring everything Cory Booker's doing poorly. She says, you got to help us. He's awful. And he's getting a pass. He's getting a free ride to Washington. And 1010 Wins did this interview with this woman. They didn't even make use of the interview. It went viral, but no thanks to them. So we'll talk about that. I'll let you hear what this woman had to say. And RFK Jr. trashing Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. Wait till you hear this. You ain't heard nothing yet today, folks, even though you think you have. Right here, just getting started on a Monday on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hello, and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. President Obama takes his case to the public on Syria beginning today. He'll have one-on-one interviews with TV network anchors, and he'll address the nation in a televised speech tomorrow. But Syrian President Bashar Assad is speaking to the American public first. He sat down with CBS's Charlie Rose for an exclusive interview. And in that interview, Assad says the U.S. has zero proof his government launched the chemical weapons attack that the U.S. says killed more than 1,400 people. And Assad gave a cryptic warning about what would happen if the U.S. does strike Syria.
Will there be attacks against American bases in the Middle East if there's an airstrike?
You should expect everything. You should expect everything. Not necessarily through the government. It's not only the governments are not the only player in this region. You have different parties, you have different factions, you have different ideology. You have everything in this region now. So you have to expect that.
Meanwhile, today, thousands of Syrians took to the streets to protest potential military strikes. The demonstrators were carrying flags and posters with anti-American slogans, and some were even showing support for Assad. Meanwhile, the White House admits it lacks irrefutable evidence of a chemical weapons attack by the Assad regime, but it says this passes the common sense test. But that might not be enough for lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The president is still pushing. He has reached across the aisle and dined with half dozen Senate Republicans last night. He will travel to the Hill on Tuesday to lunch with Senate Democrats before his televised address. Administration officials have also been meeting with dozens of House members to try and gain their support as well. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with British Foreign Minister William Hague today in London as he continues to press the international community for more support. However, the British Parliament did fail to pass a motion 10 days ago that would have allowed the UK to join a military strike against Syria. And there has been very little support from Europe as a whole. The EU is now also asking the U.S. to hold off on any strikes, but Kerry says the world has no choice but to act.
The world has stood together against the use of chemical weapons, and we need to hear an appropriate outcry as we think back on those moments of history when large numbers of people have been killed because the world was silent.
Meanwhile, Kerry also met with Arab League representatives in Paris yesterday. He says Saudi Arabia has decided to endorse the U.S. strikes, and he expects other Arab countries to issue similar statements within the next 24 hours. But none of those countries are actually expected to join a military strike. And next up on your Newsmax Now update, a masterful performance from Serena Williams. See what made this U.S. Open Finals so much different from her other matches. And a Newsmax exclusive with former U.S. Ambassador Eric Edelman, his message for war-weary Americans about Syria. Next.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on LigNet.com. You've been briefed.
And welcome back. Serena Williams has won her 5th U.S. Open tennis championship. Williams needed a 3rd set to defeat Victoria Azarenka. It was the first time in the tournament that Serena lost a set. This is the 2nd straight U.S. Open title for Williams. She defeated Azarenka in the title match last year as well. It is also her 17th career Grand Slam title. That men's final is today at 5 p.m. Now back to the topic of Syria. Polls show that most Americans are very much against any sort of military action, even if the Assad regime used chemical weapons. But that resistance comes at a cost, according to former U.S. Ambassador to Turkey, Eric Edelman, during this Newsmax exclusive.
We can't be indifferent to the outcome, I think, in Syria, and in particular, we can't be in doubt about the outcome of the use of chemical weapons that goes without a U.S. response.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content and the latest on Syria, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 9th. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 2. I still can't get over, we were just talking in the newsroom. John Kerry, and we're going to go into this later on, but we did it at the top of the show in case you missed it. John Kerry in London today is asked, is there any way Assad could avert getting bombed? And John Kerry says, well, yeah, hand over your chemical weapons to the international community within a week. I'd like to see him do that. He won't do it, and it can't be done. So Russia says, wait a minute. Assad says, wait a minute. We like that idea. And so now the United States is saying officially, national security people, they're talking on CNN, well, we're looking into this. We want to see what the Russian proposal is. So Kerry gives a proposal as a way out to Assad and then says it can't be done. Folks, the incompetence is outrageous. If it were a vaudeville act, it would be award-winning. And to his credit, Jake Tapper is taking the administration to task on this. Anyway, all right, let's get a little closer to where I am sitting right now. And that would be, well, I'm not sitting in New Jersey, but that would be New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, Cory Booker, of course, is running for U.S. Senate from New Jersey. Cory Booker has all the Hollywood support. He's running against Steve Lonegan. He's a Democrat. Lonegan's a Republican. Booker has been anointed. Booker will win, according to the media. Booker's great. Booker's the next Barack Obama, and you could see it. You could see it. It really has nothing to do with race, although they're both African American. Booker's playing games. He makes people up that don't exist. Like Obama made up someone, a girlfriend that didn't exist in his book. And he's a failure at what he's doing now, so much so that he's going to be promoted. Now, don't believe me. He's mayor of Newark. Newark has got almost become the per capita, the murder capital of New Jersey, and maybe per capita, the murder capital of the United States. But the media, you don't hear that being talked about. You hear about the great Cory Booker. He runs in and saves people in fires, and he gets manicures and pedicures, so his sexuality is off limits. How dare you? That's all you hear about. Not how Newark is falling apart, how they have one of the worst education systems in the country, and they get the most money almost per student in the country. Forget all that. Put him in the Senate. He's entitled to it. So listen to this woman, Donna Jackson, of the Newark Nonviolence Coalition. She is an African-American living in Newark and is desperate for help. This is cut number 5.
We had a 22-year-old young lady stabbed to death day before yesterday. The mayor hasn't even reached out to that family, but yet he wants to come in town. He wants to do a press conference for the pizza delivery guy that was killed, and absolutely you should do that. But there are other victims as well, and the problem is that they don't cross the line to keep the community even. The problem is that you guys are kept in the dark in terms of what else is going here. This is probably our 40th homicide in less than 30 days. Now, let's don't talk about the endless number of shootings. Let's not talk about the domestic violence here that results in people being hurt, disabled, loss of limbs. It is so atrocious what's going on in the city of Newark. And unfortunately, you guys are going to have to come out in the community and meet with us, because unfortunately what has been asked of you is for you guys to cover up what's going on in this city. And you have done it well, to let this man be a national figure while the people in Newark die off slowly.
That is scary stuff, sad stuff. And she's talking about the media to the media. Here's more from Donna Jackson, Newark resident of the Nonviolence Coalition, Cut 6.
The unemployment rate in Newark is well over 30%. The crime is out of control. Our police department is down over 700 officers. I wish somebody would report that. The mayor has not replaced a class that has retired in this city under his tenure. He's been the mayor here over 7 years. No, so that's 167 in layoff. That's 2 classes we brought in at a time with that. So we're 700 officers down. We have about 5 to 7 police cars from the state covering us now, and it's still not enough. We had a homicide yesterday on Hawthorne Avenue, then another homicide broke out. Fortunately tonight, because there's not anything else major going on down here in this ward, they have cops that's able to cover. But we arrive at crime scenes where there's officers that are there alone. The level of danger in this city is at an all-time high. And if you guys can convey anything out there to the world, for those of us here in Newark, we're not just the #1 carjacking city in the world. We're the #1 murder, crime city in this country, and we need help.
And we need help. This, you would ask yourself, this is amazing. How has this not been told before? Here's cut number 7.
We are hurting in Newark. We need help in Newark. The lies that you have been told, this city is not safe. The residents are not safe, and we are living here in fear and poverty, and it is not getting better. It has gotten worse under Booker's tenure, and you guys have to come in here and help us report this stuff out, because unfortunately, when residents of Newark get on Facebook and Twitter with him and begin to tell these real stories and try to get it out to you guys, he blocks us. He calls your producers, oh, don't cover the story.
Yeah. All right. Now, what's interesting about this, and you know, we are proud to be an affiliate, or have as an affiliate 1450 WCTC in New Jersey. And, of course, many people there may know this or may not know this, and you're going to be voting very soon for the next senator from the state of New Jersey, so you need to know this. But so do the people of America need to know this. And here's the interesting part. According to newsbusters.org, this went viral. This went viral because it was posted on the Drudge Report, the Daily Caller, and many other places. It was posted originally on YouTube by TV News NJ. But the microphone... the logo on the microphone doing that interview belonged to WINS, 1010 Wins All News Radio in New York. And as of the writing of this piece that I'm reading from, according to PJ Gladnick, the author, he said, as of the writing, you won't find the video anywhere on the WINS website. So they did the interview with that woman and gave it, I won't say no publicity at all. Maybe they ran a story on it on the radio. I don't know. But it was nowhere to be found on their site when other sites were going with it, and it went viral. You tell me how that's possible. And you tell me that woman's not right when she says you're being told to ignore all this, you're being told to overlook it, you're being told not to report it. She makes a pretty good case, doesn't she? If, in fact, this wasn't on their website. And 1010 Wins, I should point out, is an all news station, and people listen to it in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. So we bring it to you, folks. We bring it to you because the folks listening all over America, and especially at 1450 AM WCTC in New Jersey, need to hear this. This man has been built. He's another phony story. He's like Obama, not racially, although they are both African American, and maybe that's why the media lets them get away with it. I don't know. But it was Bill Clinton who said that Barack Obama's story was the biggest fairy tale ever, not me. And you got Cory Booker making people up. You got Cory Booker now, I'm not going to tell you if I'm gay or straight. Nah. And the media thinks that's great. Cory Booker, he won't say if he's gay or straight. Oh, you gotta love that. And basically, that's what he's running on. That and the fact that he's Cory Booker, whatever that means. What's he done? Look at his city. You wouldn't live in his city. Now you're going to put him in the United States Senate? Man. All right, let's go quickly. Can we go to Mark? We got, yes, no? Mark in Gainesville, Florida. Hello, Mark. You're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks for weighing in.
Yeah, thank you. You have a great show. I heard you the first hour when you were talking. Unfortunately, we have a situation here where we're told that this is a humanitarian crisis. First of all, we don't have all the evidence, and we don't know exactly how many people were exposed to sarin gas, et cetera. We do know, though, that there are over 400,000 dead black people in the Sudan, which is a pro-Al-Qaeda government that murdered those people, and nobody running this country gave a damn about that, did they?
No, they didn't, and they don't give a damn about the slavery in the Sudan, and they seem not to give a darn about the dead Christians all over the Middle East, all over Africa. Churches burned, bombed, people now being threatened in Syria by our friends, the rebels, with conversion or being beheaded. And have you heard the State Department? Have you heard Bill Clinton? Have you heard John Kerry say this has to stop? No, they don't care.
And you know what they have in common in that area with Afghanistan? Two of the biggest heroin-producing areas in the world. We're supposed to be leaving Afghanistan, which miraculously supplied 90% of the world's heroin after we got involved.
Well, interesting. I don't know what this has anything to do with that. And Mark, thank you for the call. But I just heard a report. If that heroin use in this country is, if it's not at an all-time high, it has increased tremendously. Drug use, specifically heroin, way up there. Well, the solution to that, legalize it. Yeah, pot, heroin, cocaine, legalize it. All right, folks, we're coming back with Alan Dershowitz, who's going to tell us, is it legal? Is it not legal? Do we bomb with congressional authority, without congressional authority? Is it war? On the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff. Every day our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
This resolution is going to pass after we work this week, George. Members have been in their districts and in their states. We've been talking to many of them, dozens of them. And when they see this intelligence, they don't rebut it. So the bottom line is they have to answer the question, should there be consequences? And the answer to that question will be followed closely in Tehran, in Damascus, and elsewhere.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough on ABC This Week yesterday. Joining us now to talk about all of this from a legal point of view is our friend Alan Dershowitz. Hey, Alan, how are you?
How are you? But I'm not sure there's much to talk about from a legal point of view. This is really a political decision, not a legal decision. And to the extent it's legal, the politics and the legality are almost inseparable in a situation like this.
Okay, well, let me ask you basic questions. You know, whether or not the president has the authority. I mean, he could have ordered this strike without ever going to Congress legally.
Look, the law on whether or not the president has the authority to take military action against foreign countries is simply unclear. Nobody knows the answer to that question. The Constitution says the Congress shall have the power to declare war. This is not something that requires a declaration of war. We don't want to declare war on Syria. That would be absurd. Plainly, the Constitution is inadequate to the situation. It's an 18th century document, and we're dealing with 21st century problems. And so you have to look at tradition. And the tradition is we haven't declared war since 1941, December 7th or 8th, and we probably won't any longer. And the president, since that time, presidents have engaged in the Korean War, which is a real war, the Vietnam War, which is a real war, the Iraq War, which is pretty much a real war, the Afghanistan War. This is much, much different. This is much more like Libya, like Kosovo. And anybody who tells you they know the answer as to whether it's lawful or not lawful is selling you snake oil. Nobody knows the answer to that question. And it's probably not a question that will ever get to the Supreme Court. During the Vietnam War, they tried to bring that issue to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ducked it repeatedly. This is a political question.
So, okay, but just let me put these scenarios through, to you, and you give me your opinion, if not on legality, at least on politics. So, if this does not pass, and he does it anyway. Certainly politically, he's worse off than he would have just done it on his own, correct? And is that illegal?
Without a doubt. I think it makes his case for legality much harder since he put it to Congress. Of course, he said when he put it to Congress that he didn't think he had to. My own prediction is if it doesn't pass, he won't do it. And look, let's remember what the situation really is like. Here we have a humanitarian issue that doesn't involve the United States. The United States is no more interested in this than any other country. In fact, the Arab countries should have a much greater stake in this. Pakistan should be far more interested in whether Muslims are killing Muslims, and Jordan should be much more interested in whether Arabs are killing Arabs than the United States. This does not involve the national interest of the United States. We're just trying to be do-gooders. And then you have these hypocrites in Europe who claim to be involved in human rights. They're protesting, they're boycotting, they're doing all these things, and they say, we don't care. People are killing each other, 100,000 people killed, 1,400 people gassed to death. We couldn't care less. It would be easier today to get the Europeans to want to attack Israel than it would be to get the Europeans to try to attack Syria. They care more about Israel building a settlement somewhere than they do about hundreds of thousands of Arabs killing each other. It is such hypocrisy. The minute we pay any attention to those academic and media hypocrites in Europe is the minute we have succumbed to their selective and morality or immorality.
Well, we're talking to Alan Dershowitz here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me ask you this. John Kerry says today, and this may be on a par with what you said, we're not talking about war. We're not going to war. We will not put people at risk in that way. But when you lob missiles into a sovereign nation, is that not war? A declaration of war? An act of war?
It's certainly an act of war under the international law of war, but we did the same thing in Kosovo. We did it with some approval from NATO. We had sometimes had the United Nations, but the United Nations is impotent when it comes to anything that Russia or China doesn't want to do. NATO is impotent when it comes to anything the Europeans don't want to do. So if we want to be a do-gooder nation, and the interesting thing is that, Samantha Power, who was my former student, really was the creator of the concept of a duty to help people, and it grows out of the Holocaust. I mean, nations stood idly by while 20 million people, including 6 million Jews and many gays, were killed. Nobody intruded at all. The United States would never have gone to war against Germany if Japan hadn't foolishly bombed Pearl Harbor. And then Germany probably we wouldn't have gone to war with them, except for the fact that Germany declared war on the United States, and then we responded by declaring war on Germany. And, the notion that this is an administration that is dying to go to war, it's not. I mean, when you think of 4 people who are more adverse to war, it's hard to think of any 4 people more than Barack Obama, John Kerry, Chuck Hagel, and Samantha Power.
But because we're running out of time, and I want to wish you a happy, healthy New Year as well. But let me ask. But Kerry's wrong when he says it's not about war. We're not talking about war. It would be an act of war if
it would be an act of war. But I have to tell you, Kerry did something very brilliant.
I know, but Alan, we're out of time. But I thank you for weighing in, and we'll speak to you again soon. Alan Dershowitz, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, a Catholic cross that will not be built on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments, and before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-613-3159 now. The call and information are free. We've helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-613-3159 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-613-3159. That's 800-613-3159. Again, 800-613-3159. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurityFree.com. At SocialSecurityFree.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurityFree.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says SocialSecurityFree.com is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurityFree.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurityFree.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm going to tell you a story here. And it was a battle of Christians versus Christians, which I hate that kind of battle. But, hey, you know, being Jewish, it's often Jews don't agree on hardly anything. Anyway, city officials in Brandon, Mississippi, were opposing efforts by a prominent church to erect a giant cross. And the reason they were against it was because they said it violated zoning ordinances. But the pastor of the church said that the elected officials were more concerned about offending Muslims. And this was alongside Interstate 20. The project was sponsored by Crosses Across America, a nonprofit group that builds giant crosses along the nation's highways. And they were all ready to do this, but the town, the elected officials, would not allow this to take place. Now, subsequently, after vowing to fight this, the church and the pastor, Scott Thomas, senior pastor at the First Baptist Church of Brandon, Mississippi, has decided to forego this battle and has said that too much time has been put into the effort here to get this cross built, and not enough time has been given to, or let me rephrase it. A lot of time has been taken away from the spirituality in waging this battle. Actually, you know who could say it better than I can? The man we're going to talk to right now, who is Scott Thomas, the senior pastor at that church. Pastor Thomas, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you covering this.
No, it's my pleasure. And, you know, I know the story has changed. And when they asked me if I still wanted to do the story, I said absolutely, because I think the way it's ended is a very meaningful ending, and I want to get to that. But talk about the situation. I tried to describe it as best I can while we were getting you on the phone. You wanted this cross built up on Interstate 20, crosses across America, huge cross. It's done all over the country, but the town wouldn't let you do it, correct?
Exactly. 110-foot cross, and it's not nearly as big as some of them have made it out to be. They tried to make it sound like it was an 11-story building and, you know, all those kinds of things. But 110-foot cross, and the variance in our area for exterior structures, the limit's 20 feet. And so we were just asking our mayor, our board of aldermen, to vote in a variance, which is allowed by the law. If you have a limit, you can legally vote in a variance, and to allow that 110-foot cross. And, you know, it's a strategic piece of property. We own a little over 100 acres on Interstate 20, and over 50 million people a year drive through here. And we just strongly believe that that cross would be such an inspiration to so many of those people. In addition to that, I guess the other side of it is that it would be a discouragement to the drug runners that, you know, race across our state through this I-20 corridor from the east to the west. And so anyway, the city pretty much, you know, with the planning commission voted 4-3 against it, and then we started seeing the writing on the wall and hearing from our city officials that it just didn't look like it was going to work. And so, you know, we saw the stalemate, and you know, it's such a small community, and we work together with these folks. They're Christians, we're Christians. It became more of a family dispute that sort of went national. And so, you know, I got with the Lord, and I prayed Friday night for 7 or 8 hours, and I just decided, you know, we're called to minister to this city. It's obvious that, you know, the leaders, they don't feel that our method of raising a cross or erecting a cross is going to do it. So I just want to lead our church and lead our churches, instead of erecting a cross, to reflect the message of the cross. And so we met yesterday with my deacons and leadership, and we just decided, let's pull this application, let's withdraw the application, and really genuinely live as people who reflect the cross instead of people that are going to fight to erect the cross. And so,
I think that's a great spiritual ending to this whole thing. But I do want to allow you to go on. But I just want to bring up that there was some implications, at least by some, that there might have been more to this than just adding a variance to allow you to do this. There was some speculation that some didn't want that done because it might offend other religions, specifically Muslims. Right.
Well, the questions that have been asked come from a wide range of people, and very, I mean, these folks are very open-minded and very loving, and they don't have anything necessarily against, the majority of the Muslim population that we know, but they are like so many Americans. What about the Muslims that are the angry or the dissident kind of a group? And so, they were asking questions like, what if, not only the Muslims though, and I wouldn't dare limit it to that particular group, but what if, you have a cross and then you know, at that point you've got to allow other commercial entities to build signs in those areas. And so, you know, the height limit is 20 feet, but now you got a 110-foot cross. Now we're going to have to open the door for anybody to, you know, to build their sign. It could be other religions. It could be other, you know, other businesses. And so, yeah, there was an indication that there was that what if. And my response to that is, let's don't live in a what if world, you know, making our decisions out of fear. Let's live in an until then world,
right.
Because the reality is the Muslim group's going to come, the Hindu group's going to come, and we're going to respect them for their belief, even though we're completely different. But what we need to do is, until that happens, we need to have a cross. We need to pray. We need to continue to do what we've been called to do, and that is we've been called to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that he came to save all of those, every one of us, who are sinners and without him.
Well, Pastor,
So-
I think that I was you know, disappointed for you, and I hope you get the cross one day. I would like to see you get the cross, and I'm speaking as a Jewish person. But I was very impressed by the tone that you took in ending it and saying, you know, it was pitting Christian against Christian and people calling each other names and not living up to the spirit of what it was all about. So I admire you for that as well. But I wish you the best of luck in one day getting it, and certainly I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have it.
Well, I can't thank you enough, and especially from your background, and I value that and appreciate that, and have the greatest amount of respect for you. And I wish you could meet some of our Jewish friends who attend our church. They're incredible and very dedicated people, and we just get along so well. And I just appreciate that, and that you've covered this. And
well,
and
Pastor,
then
if you're ever in New York, look me up, okay?
I will. Thank you.
All right.
And
Thank you,
guys
sir.
have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too. Take care. That's Pastor Scott Thomas, senior pastor at the First Baptist Church of Brandon, Mississippi. Nice man. Seems like a very nice man, and I'm sorry I didn't get his cross. But, you know, if we give you a cross, then what if we have to give somebody this, or what if we have to give the Muslims that, or the Buddhists that, or, you know, like he said, let's deal not in the what if, but in the here and now. Seems to make a lot more sense. Republicans disapprove of action in Syria 86-9, Independents 67-26. Democrats favor action in Syria in this latest poll. Democrats favor it. In this latest CNN poll, they favor action in Syria. Of course they do. Of course they do. Hypocrisy 101. Yeah, we have strong national interests in Syria. Absolutely. Hey, we're going to open the phones up for the rest of the hour. If you want to weigh in on what you just heard about the cross, you want to weigh in on what you heard about Cory Booker at the top of the hour, if you're in Jersey or if you're around the country and you want to weigh in on the Booker-Steve Lanigan race, if you want to weigh in on Syria, 9% of Republicans approve of the president's handling of the Syrian situation so far. 9%. I don't know how it's that high, to be honest. Well, John Boehner. Well, John Boehner, I guess he accounts for the 9%. 45% approve of the job the president is doing. I don't know if that's regarding Syria. I'm reading off the crawl on CNN. I don't know if that's regarding Syria or overall. That seems to be overall a 45% job approval. Anyway, you know the number, 855-777-9660. It's free. No matter where you're listening to us, or if you're watching us at Newsmax TV, 855-777-9660. I want to hear from you. Write the number on your hand in ink that will not come off, so you will always have it right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night. but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind, to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we are back, and let me tell you a little story here. I should have asked the question this way at first. I should have asked the question, which right-wing conservative racist said this about Reverend Al Sharpton and Reverend Jesse Jackson? The Reverends Jackson and Sharpton, quote-unquote, give me the creeps. Al Sharpton has done more damage to the black cause than George Wallace, former governor of Alabama during segregation. He has suffocated the decent black leaders in New York. His transparent vino blackmail and extortion schemes taint all black leadership. He goes on to call Sharpton a buffoon who has never escaped the stench of his advocacy for Tawana Brawley, the black Dutchess County teen who fabricated a story about 6 white men gang raping her back in 1987. He writes that Jesse Jackson has, quote, a desperate and destructive addiction to publicity. He recalls that Jackson, at labor leader Cesar Chavez's funeral, pushed, quote, Caesar's friends and family out of the way to make himself lead pallbearer. His love affair with Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan and his Jewish xenophobia are also unforgivable. I feel dirty around him, and I feel like I'm being used. I feel like with Jesse, it's all about Jesse. Who is the right-wing, bigoted, white conservative that said these horrific things about the Honorable Reverend Al Sharpton and the outstanding and honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if I told you it wasn't a conservative, if I told you it was an environmentalist wacko, quote unquote, if I told you it was someone who's so far to the left mostly that he's fallen off the chart, and if I told you it was a Kennedy, that's right, a Kennedy. If I told you it was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. who wrote this in a secret diary that was obtained, and that's not the worst of it. I got to tell you, well, that might be the worst of it. But here's the deal. RFK kept this secret journal. Now I'm mixing up. See, there are 2 articles, and I am mixing up both. Okay, 2 of 15, 3 of 15, 4 of 15. All right, I'll get myself together. Of 15. Okay, that's of 15. Here's of 11. 1 of 11. 2 of 11. Okay. He used the diary mostly to document his sexual escapades while married. Of course, tragically and unfortunately, his late wife hanged herself. She had reportedly addiction problems and emotional problems, but she hanged herself. He kept, listen to this, he grappled with what he called his biggest deficit. Quote, my lust demons. Now, don't forget, he's the son of RFK, nephew of JFK, grandson of the Kennedy father, who used to bring women home to the dinner table while his wife was there cooking for them. Okay, his lust demons. And he kept a scorecard of more than 24 conquests. This according to his secret diary. The thick red journal was found in their home by his wife, Mary Richardson Kennedy, who, distraught over their impending divorce and Kennedy's serial philandering, committed suicide last year. A copy of the 398 pages reviewed by the New York Post details RFK Jr.'s, or should I say Junior's, I want to be accurate like Elaine and Seinfeld, his daily activities, speeches, political activism, the lives of his 6 children in the year 2001, but they also record the names of women. And next to the names of each woman is a 1 to a 10. A number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. The codes correspond not to how good the women were, quote unquote, but to the sex acts That's right. He had 10 of them, apparently. The codes correspond to the sexual acts with 10 meaning intercourse. Mary told a confidant. There are 37 women named in the ledger, 16 of whom got 10. On November 13, 2001, RFK Jr. records a triple play. The separate encounters coded 10, 3, and 2 occur on the same day he attended a black tie fundraiser at the Waldorf for Christopher Reeve's charity, where he sat next to the paralyzed Superman star, magician David Blaine, and comic Richard Belzer. It was a hectic month for Kennedy, who traveled to Toronto, Louisiana, Washington, D.C., and listed at least one woman's name on 22 different dates, including 13 consecutive days. Why does the line, "gonna need a shot of vitamin E," come to mind from Rod Stewart? Most women are identified only by first name in the ledger. They include a lawyer, an environmentalist activist or an environmental activist, a doctor, and at least one woman married to a famous actor. I'm not going to speculate on what I would speculate out loud about what I'm thinking about the famous actor. Anyway, a Post reporter who questioned Kennedy last Friday about the diary was first met with 6 seconds of stunned silence. In other words, the reporter went up and said, "Hey, what about this diary where you get all these women and everything?" And he's like, "Huh?" Stunned, he says, "I didn't think there was any way you could have a diary or journal of mine from 2001, Kennedy then said. "I don't have any comment on it. I have no diary from 2001. Well, it says here the diary is laced with Kennedy's so-called Catholic guilt over his infidelities, which followed the same pattern of affairs pursued by his uncles, John F. Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, I forgot Ted Kennedy, and his own father. On days without a woman's name, Kennedy would often write victory. This meant he triumphantly resisted sexual temptation, according to a source close to Richardson. Despite the terrible things happening in the world, my life is great, he wrote on November 5, 2001. So I've been looking for ways to screw it up. I'm like Adam and live in Eden and can have everything but the fruit. But the fruit is all I want." You get the gist here, right? Wow. But the sex is his own business, but his ideas, his feelings, his writings about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, my God, if this was my diary or Rush Limbaugh's diary or, some conservative's diary and the left got a hold of this, oh, what a racist, what a bigot. The stench, he says they have a stench. He says they're... But this is, beloved RFK Jr. and big environmentalist, big liberal, Kennedy. Have you heard about this? Has this been all over the news today? I don't know. I've been watching the cable stations, and I haven't seen much of it. But very interesting stuff. Thank you, RFK Jr., for providing us with this entertaining segment. The entertaining segment right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com, Aftershock2013.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. President Obama takes his case to the public on Syria beginning today. He'll have one-on-one interviews with TV network anchors, and he'll address the nation in a televised speech tomorrow. But Syrian President Bashar Assad is speaking to the American public first. He sat down with CBS's Charlie Rose for an exclusive interview. And in that interview, Assad says the U.S. has zero proof his government launched a chemical weapons attack that the U.S. says killed more than 1,400 people. And Assad gave a cryptic warning about what would happen if the U.S. does strike Syria.
Will there be attacks against American bases in the Middle East if there's an airstrike?
You should expect everything. You should expect everything. Not necessarily through the government. It's not only the governments are not the only player in this region. You have different parties, you have different factions, you have different ideology. You have everything in this region now. So you have to expect that.
Meanwhile, today, thousands of Syrians took to the streets to protest potential military strikes. The demonstrators were carrying flags and posters with anti-American slogans, and some were even showing support for Assad. Meanwhile, the White House admits it lacks irrefutable evidence of a chemical weapons attack by the Assad regime, but it says this passes the common sense test. But that might not be enough for lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The president is still pushing. He has reached across the aisle and dined with half dozen Senate Republicans last night. He will travel to the Hill on Tuesday to lunch with Senate Democrats before his televised address. Administration officials have also been meeting with dozens of House members to try and gain their support as well. And U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met with British Foreign Minister William Hague today in London as he continues to press the international community for more support. However, the British Parliament did fail to pass a motion 10 days ago that would have allowed the UK to join a military strike against Syria. And there has been very little support from Europe as a whole. The EU is now also asking the U.S. to hold off on any strikes, but Kerry says the world has no choice but to act.
The world has stood together against the use of chemical weapons, and we need to hear an appropriate outcry as we think back on those moments of history when large numbers of people have been killed because the world was silent.
Meanwhile, Kerry also met with Arab League representatives in Paris yesterday. He says Saudi Arabia has decided to endorse the U.S. strikes, and he expects other Arab countries to issue similar statements within the next 24 hours. But none of those countries are actually expected to join a military strike. And next up on your Newsmax Now update, a masterful performance from Serena Williams. See what made this U.S. Open Finals so much different from her other matches. And a Newsmax exclusive with former U.S. Ambassador Eric Edelman, his message for war-weary Americans about Syria. Next.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at Aftershock911.com. Aftershock911.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
And welcome back. Serena Williams has won her 5th U.S. Open tennis championship. Williams needed a 3rd set to defeat Victoria Azarenka. It was the first time in the tournament that Serena lost a set. This is the 2nd straight U.S. Open title for Williams. She defeated Azarenka in the title match last year as well. It is also her 17th career Grand Slam title. That men's final is today at 5 p.m. Now back to the topic of Syria. Polls show that most Americans are very much against any sort of military action, even if the Assad regime used chemical weapons. But that resistance comes at a cost, according to former U.S. Ambassador to Turkey, Eric Edelman, during this Newsmax exclusive.
We can't be indifferent to the outcome, I think, in Syria, and in particular, we can't be in doubt about the outcome of the use of chemical weapons that goes without a U.S. response.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content and the latest on Syria, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 9th. I'm John Bachman. Take care.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
He could turn over every single bit of his chemical weapons to the international community in the next week. Turn it over, all of it, without delay, and allow a full and total accounting for that. But he isn't about to do it, and it can't be done, obviously.
All right, folks. Notwithstanding the fact that he said it's not going to happen and it can't be done, notwithstanding the fact that the White House and the administration first reacted to this as a gaffe, said it was a gaffe, said that the secretary misspoke, now John Kerry's being hailed as a genius because he inadvertently put his foot in his mouth. I guess that's how you usually do it, inadvertently, and answered a question, didn't come up with this on his own. The question was, how could Assad prevent being bombed? And he said, I don't know, let him hand over his chemical weapons to the international community, but it can't be done. Well, Russia said not so fast. Syria said not so fast. We like that. Joining us now to talk about all this and specifically to talk about Al-Qaeda and why this president sees no need to draw a red line on Al-Qaeda, only on Assad, is our friend, of course, Andy McCarthy, former U.S. Assistant Attorney, and, of course, the author of Spring Fever, The Illusion of Islamic Democracy. Hello, my friend.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
You sound like you're undercover today, like under the covers.
Oh, I wish I was.
No, that's much better. No, the sound was far away. I'm only teasing you. All right, so first of all, Kerry makes a big mistake here, goes rogue, if you will, off script. As Secretary of State, he's not allowed to make up policy. And now he said something that I guess Obama's going to have to spin it into something he might have to live with, whether he wants to or not.
Yeah, I wonder with Kerry sometimes if they've managed to clone Biden.
But make him look French.
Right. But if he's speaking, he's misspeaking. I think, Steve, you know, the interesting thing about this is I argued and have argued for a while now that this whole chemical weapons thing is a pretext and that Obama has wanted to jump in on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood and its Al-Qaeda affiliated rebels all along, and they've used this episode, which I think, again, we still haven't gotten solid proof on it, of chemical weapons, in order to justify doing what he can't make a straight-faced argument that he would like to do, namely that it's in America's national interest somehow to jump in on the Muslim Brotherhood side against Assad. So the chemical weapons thing was just a pretext anyway, and I think they proved it today, because Kerry, as you say, off the cuff said, sure, if he surrenders his chemical weapons, then, there's no need to do this. So, of course, the next thing you know, they were agreeing to surrender their chemical weapons, and the White House was saying, well, Kerry was just making a rhetorical point.
Yeah.
I didn't think the Secretary of State, who's out there supposedly making or enunciating to the world U.S. national security policy and the considerations that we have, that we're going through as we consider whether to go to war against another country, a rhetorical point?
Yeah, it's insane. Well, there's a report now that Senator Dianne Feinstein, has now said that she welcomes Russia's proposal. This is going to backfire. But let's talk about a president here. I did a little monologue at the top of the show, and it was like bizarro world, and I said it's good to be back after a number of days off for the Jewish holidays, and now I find out that President Obama didn't draw the red line. It was really your kid who just started school in kindergarten. He drew the red line with a crayon, and and Kerry says today also in London, we're not talking about a war. We're not committing an act of war. We're just gonna bomb a country. I mean, it's like this is a whole new world we're living in. But again, the question has to be asked as I read this story, and there are many like them. We've seen what these so-called rebels do. We've seen the New York Times video, or what they showed us of it, where they lined up the Syrian soldiers they caught and executed them, shot them in the back of the head one by one, then threw them in a mass grave. We saw one of the rebels eat the heart of a Syrian soldier, and now we have. This is repeated throughout the Middle East, but let's stick to Syria. In a village called Malula, it's been taken over by Syrian rebels associated with Al-Qaeda. They've stormed the Christian center, and they made an offer that the Christians really can't refuse. Either you convert or we behead you. And I haven't heard Secretary of State Kerry comment on this or anything else we're talking about. Where's the red line, as you so eloquently asked and wrote in your National Review piece? Where's the red line on Al-Qaeda?
Right. We don't have what I would call bulletproof or airtight evidence that this was Assad. Maybe they have it and it's in some classified form, but what they've presented up till now certainly hasn't been compelling. So you have the people who told you that the Benghazi massacre was caused by a video telling us, just trust us, we really got the goods this time. But let's give them that one. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that on a small scale, Assad has used chemical weapons, even that he's done it more than once. Why is Assad's use of chemical weapons in a Syrian civil war that poses no national security threat to the United States a bigger concern than the rebels' systematic incorporation of Al-Qaeda into their operations, which hasn't happened once or twice, but happens every single day in every single bit of their forcible operations? And it's not a matter of conjecture or half-proof. It's proved to a fare thee well.
Absolutely. And Andy, first of all, one other thing that these rebels were giving in their offer to the Christians, they were shouting Allah Akbar, which, of course, according to John McCain, as we all know, is the same as Christians saying thank God. So let's get that on the record. But
yeah, we've been trying that, Steve. You should try this at home. When someone sneezes, just say Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, I think I might. But here's the thing, Andy. And look, you and I have talked. You've written great books, and of course, as we mentioned, the last one, the most recent one, Spring Fever: The Illusion of Islamic Democracy. And you and I have talked and speculated, and others have talked and speculated, and many others, and most, are afraid to talk the way we talk and speculate. But the question has to be asked: why does Barack Obama support the Muslim Brotherhood, and in this case Al-Qaeda, every chance he gets, everywhere in the world he can. I mean, he did it in Libya. He did it in Egypt. He's doing it here. I mean, and he does it under either, the guise of, oh, we got to overthrow this guy. We got to overthrow that guy. He's a bad guy. The world says, yeah, right on. The media says, yeah, right on. It's about time. And he's getting this thing done, this thing, as I call it, which so many speculated that Barack Obama might do openly if he were ever elected president. He's getting it done in a different way, and the question has to be asked: why?
Well,
why support our enemies?
Yeah, two things about that, Steve. Number one, they don't accept the fact that the Muslim Brotherhood is the enemy. No matter what has happened in, for example, Egypt in the last 2 years, and particularly the last 2 months, they continue to say that the Muslim Brotherhood is part of the moderate element.
Yeah, but Andy, they say that. But does Obama believe that, or is he dumb like a fox?
I think he's doubled down on this, Steve. I'm not here to read the president's mind.
No, I know. Yeah.
I can only go by what he does, and what he does is support the Muslim Brotherhood throughout that region, which means he thinks it's a stabilizing influence, which it clearly is not, and it's clearly anti-American. And I would say this to my friends who are in support of this potential operation on behalf of these elements against Assad, and that's this. There's been a lot of talk about Al-Qaeda, and even by the administration about Al-Qaeda, and I think it's intended to obscure the fact that while some people in the rebel faction deny that Al-Qaeda is with them or part of them, even the leaders of the rebels concede that the Muslim Brotherhood is an important component of the rebel leadership. In fact, one of the vice presidents they just picked is a Muslim Brotherhood guy. They're very open about that. We don't mention the Muslim Brotherhood. Certainly the White House doesn't, and the other people who are proponents of this don't mention it, because that would show that these people who they keep telling us are the moderates that we can support are the Muslim Brotherhood. And they know that the American people, after looking at what's happened in Egypt the last couple of months, are in no way going to accept that.
No, and we're talking Andy McCarthy here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You read him at National Review online, PJ Media, and his great books, New York Times best-selling author. But this piece in particular about the red line on Al-Qaeda that doesn't exist from this president or this administration. And you, as you've stated here, you believe, as you stated also in the piece, that Al-Qaeda is worse by far than the use of chemical weapons. And you know what's interesting? You know and I know that Assad has used chemical weapons before, or they've been used before. Yeah, and they've been used before in Syria. And you know what? Malcolm Hoenlein of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, who wants the attack, said that he spoke to someone in the administration a few weeks ago or whatever and said, these chemical weapons have been used before. He said, yeah, but only a dozen people or so got killed. So in other words, now the total's finally big enough.
Well, yeah, but, you don't want to get into a numbers game.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's insane.
And it's a progressive fiction that the problem is always the weapon. It's always the arrow, not the Indian.
Right.
It's just, they think that by banning weapons, what they're doing with chemical weapons on the international stage is what they do with firearms on the domestic front, which is, blame the gun, and then you don't have to talk about who's using the gun and what's driving him to use the gun. And it's the same thing on the world stage. They want to now talk about chemical weapons because they think it relieves them of the obligation to grapple with who are the forces on the ground and who would we be helping. And the fact is, we live in a dangerous world where it's important that the right people have weapons of terrifying power. That's the way we keep the peace. So, I think that this whole business about chemical weapons is overdrawn, and that we really ought to be carefully looking at who it is who's going to be helped by this, and also understand that if we stay out of it, these forces continue, which are both anti-American forces, continue to degrade each other. And I must say, it's astounding to me to be accused of being an isolationist. Anyone who's read my stuff over the years knows that I'm about as much of if I'm an isolationist, then Barack Obama is Ronald Reagan, right?
Right.
But people like us were saying Assad's a thug all along, that he's the cat's paw of Iran. We were saying that when Obama was reestablishing diplomatic ties with Assad, when Hillary was calling Assad a reformer, when Kerry was whining and dining Assad, and Pelosi was, traveling over there to consult with him on what American policy.
Against Bush's wishes, by the way, yeah.
So we're the ones who have been saying all along that Syria and Iran have to be dealt with in a strong way, and here we have the people who were empowering Assad all along and who say we can negotiate to a good result with Iran, telling us now we need to get tough.
Yeah, pretty bizarre, pretty messed up. Andy, as always, a pleasure. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care. Andy McCarthy, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. If you would like to weigh in at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be talking about education. It's called Endangering Prosperity, a global view of the American school. Very interesting topic. And then there's the series American Masters? Well, they're doing Billie Jean King. The first time they've been in existence since 1986. And they're doing an athlete for the first time in that PBS series. We'll talk about that later in the hour with filmmaker James Erskine. But right now, we'll take a break. We'll come back. I'd be interested in your thoughts if you have any on this. What about a red line for Al-Qaeda? What about talking about Al-Qaeda? What about punishing Al-Qaeda? What about punishing the rebels for what they've done? What about the killing of Christians? None of that. None of that matters. 855-777-9660. Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical profession, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's some news, and I'm glad I waited until now to bring it to you. I think they're now playing on some of the cable stations the 911 call made by George Zimmerman's wife to police, claiming that George Zimmerman, I haven't heard the 911 call, but the story here was that George Zimmerman had threatened his estranged wife and her father with a gun. Now, the latest news on this is, according to CNN, is that Zimmerman is no longer being held by police. So if you're no longer held by police, chances are, although he's been through this before, you didn't commit a crime. So he's no longer being held by police. Zimmerman was detained after his estranged wife told 911 he had threatened her and her father with a weapon. This according to police in Lake Mary, Florida. Shelley Zimmerman, who filed for divorce last week, called 911 after 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Police chief said that she told them Zimmerman was inside the house with a gun and was threatening her family. The chief added that Shelley Zimmerman claimed her husband battered her father. It was unclear if he received medical treatment from the first aid responders from the fire department. Zimmerman's attorney, Mark O'Mara, told CNN there was heightened emotion and a disagreement took place. O'Mara said his client was not taken to police headquarters but was being questioned near the house, which is owned by his father-in-law, and he is now, according to CNN, he's no longer being held by police. So, really much ado about nothing. Having said that, let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not the president of the George Zimmerman fan club. George Zimmerman did not violate the law. He did not commit first-degree murder. He did not commit second-degree murder. He did not commit manslaughter when he shot Trayvon Martin. He was found not guilty. There was a minority on the jury. The whole deal. He was found not guilty. So according to the evidence, I saw no evidence that warranted the charges brought against him. In fact, the police, when they first investigated this, brought no charges against him. So if he goes and commits a crime now, which I'm not saying he did today, I don't think he did because they released him. But if he goes and commits a crime, then he should be punished. But he did not commit a crime that he was charged with when he shot Trayvon Martin. But I'm not the president of his fan club. I don't think that he's never going to commit a crime. I'm not going out on that limb. But let's let what happened with Martin go. All right. Coming back, education on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, Every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. If I tell you that education in this country is problematic, I'd be making an understatement. And you know, we've talked about education in this country. We've talked about education in the big cities in particular. But when you look at the statistics overall, just 7% of students in the United States performed at an advanced math level. There are 29 other countries where that number is better. How is that possible? And it just goes on and on and on. And this has a direct impact on our prosperity in this country and our gross domestic product, our GDP, according to a great new book called Endangering Prosperity, a global view of the American school. And we welcome in one of the co-authors, Paul E. Peterson, professor of government at Harvard University and a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. And Paul, welcome, sir.
Well, Steve, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, me too. And this is such an important topic. There's really nothing. Well, with everything going on in the world, you could say that about a lot of things. But there's really nothing more important than educating our children. And I always joke whenever I say something or I think of a number in my head, I add something in my head. I always say I went to New York City public schools when they were good. What the heck has happened to our school systems in this country?
Well, they just never got any better. They got stuck in a quagmire, and they've never made any progress. When there's no competition out there, it's hard to make progress. You just keep doing the same old thing over and over again, and then of course bureaucracy takes over, and you get ossified.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so these statistics are horrific, and I sometimes find it hard to believe that that we could be that low on a list of world countries when it comes to math scores, reading scores, science achievement, technical skills, all those kinds of things that you need to survive and flourish in this kind of a global, I hate to say it, but a global economy.
Well, everybody knows that the Asian countries are outperforming us when it comes to mathematics, but I wonder how many people realize that twice as high a percentage, about 14% of Canadians are performing at the advanced level. I mean, this is not an issue of the inner city. This is an issue that goes right into the heart of suburbia. Our suburban schools are not teaching our kids up to the highest level, and our neighbors to the north are doing much better. The Germans are, the French are, the English are. I mean, it's all over the world.
Absolutely. And tell me, for instance, how an X amount of a test score improvement, for instance, might raise the GDP or raise our paychecks by X amount of dollars. How is that directly related?
Well, the best way to think about it is if we could get up to where the Canadians are, and it's a serious job to get there, but if we could get there, but it's not impossible to get there, well, that would mean that everybody's wages over the next 80 years, when you average it all out, would be about 20% higher than otherwise. So, we would be a much wealthier country. I'm sure everybody would love to have a 20% increase every year from now on out, and that adds up total to nothing less than 77 trillion, which is such an astronomical number we can't even imagine it. But the basic fact is that we talk about our debt out there, we talk about the fiscal crisis, but really if we grow our economy, we can meet those problems. But if we don't fix our schools, we're not going to grow our economy. It's the most important thing.
No, right. We're talking to Paul Peterson, professor of government at Harvard, a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute, and I'm holding up the book here on Newsmax TV, of course, and radio, Endangering Prosperity, a global view of the American school. People say, fix the schools, crumbling schools. We need more money, more money, more money. Pay teachers more, fix the buildings. That's not the answer. That's what we've been doing, I think, for the last, 40 years, and we haven't gotten any better. And if you listen to the campaign speeches of candidates running for office where the schools are failing most, it's the same campaign line.
Well, nobody ever tells you how much we're currently spending. The American public thinks we're spending about $6,000 per pupil. In fact, we're spending $12,000 per pupil, and that's a pretty conservative estimate put out by the U.S. Department of Education.
Right.
And, we're the highest spending country in the world except for the Swiss and maybe the Norwegians. And they're spending, we're spending almost, we're within $100 of both of them. So, we spend incredible sums of money, and as you said, the amount has gone up enormously over the last 25, 30 years, and we're getting nothing in return. If we were getting something in return, we'd all applaud it.
Absolutely.
But if you look at the states that have spent a lot more and those that haven't spent much more, you say, have the ones that spent a lot more gotten a lot more value for their money? No, you find out there's no connection between spending more money and getting good schools.
All right, so Professor, the answer then, I would assume, is competition, is our vouchers, our choice, and less influence from the teachers' unions. Is this what you believe?
I would do that, but I would do one other thing too.
Yeah.
I'd hold students accountable. I mean, we should be giving high school students, especially, and that's where the problem is especially great. They should be said, okay, you got to learn your math, you got to learn your English, you got to learn your history, and this is the test that we're all going to expect you to take.
But wait a minute, Professor, it drives me nuts when almost everybody is now saying this new line, oh, I'm sick of teachers teaching to the test. They teach to the test. There's too much emphasis on teaching to the test. Kids should be allowed to express themselves. And I guess if a kid could talk and make it to the bathroom and back and open and shut the door, they should get a passing grade.
Well, of course, there are good tests and there are bad tests. So I'd like to have good tests. But, a biology course should have a biology test at the end of it, and somebody should be able to take that test and do reasonably well if they're going to graduate from high school.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. We're getting away from that. There are inherent flaws in standardized tests, and what if a kid doesn't take tests well? All these excuses, and it would be one thing, as you said, is if we were getting better, but we're getting worse.
Well, that is the challenge, really. It is the challenge, and you've identified, if in the absence of competition and in the absence of expecting students to be doing what they're supposed to do, as other countries do. I mean, other countries expect kids to take tests if they're going to finish high school. Why aren't we doing what they're doing? I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, if you don't understand it, then we're in trouble, because I certainly don't understand it either, except that the political correctness, the influence of the teachers' unions, parents looking to, in this culture where you grow up in Little League, when they start out at 5 or 6 or 7, no one wins, no one loses, everybody gets on base, there's nobody gets out. It seems like it continues into our education system, and I think that's part of the problem.
Well, I'm looking forward to this digital learning movement that's starting to blossom, especially in our universities, because I think it's going to spill over into our high schools. And if you could start giving kids a choice of courses so that and you would say, okay, and you got to do well in these courses if you're going to get into a decent college. All of a sudden, students might themselves say, you know what, I just as soon take a good course as to sit in this classroom day in and day out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think there's some new possibilities coming down the pike that we can look forward to.
Well, listen, this is a book every parent and every teacher and every educator and every concerned citizen needs to pick up and read. Endangering Prosperity, A Global View of the American School, and co-author Paul Peterson joins us today. Thank you so much, sir. Pleasure talking to you.
Steve, thanks for the call.
My pleasure. All right, folks, when we come back, Billie Jean King is going to be highlighted tonight. It's 40 years ago that she and Bobby Riggs went at it. We're going to talk to the filmmaker in charge of putting that together as the Steve Malzberg Show continues. We do everything on this show. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message, because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream. Streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
I tell you, when you get out on the court, all the talking in the world isn't going to help.
Do you really think that this match should be the symbol of the women's struggle against the men?
Absolutely. We've chosen the gladiators. Billie Jean King for the women and Bobby Riggs for all the male guys all over the world.
Bobby Riggs today would be a laughingstock, but unfortunately he wasn't back then.
Oh, no way he's going to tie me up. You know, I've been around long enough. All that hot air isn't going to make one bit of difference.
She's psyched out already. She's coming apart at the seams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's just a little taste, just a little clip of what you could expect tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on PBS. Check your local listings as American Masters Billie Jean King will take to the airwaves. And joining us right now is filmmaker James Erskine. And James, welcome to the show, sir.
Good, great to be on it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So we have, yesterday we had the women's champion, Serena Williams, again wins the U.S. Open. Just about as we're talking now, the men are just getting underway in the men's finals. And tomorrow, this piece on Billie Jean King airs, and it's the 40th anniversary of what we heard there. We heard from Bobby Riggs. We heard from Billie Jean King. It was the battle of the sexes, and I can't believe it was 40 years ago. Billie Jean King, in an exhibition tennis match at the Astrodome, beat Bobby Riggs. And I don't know, with all she accomplished in women's tennis, is that what Billie Jean King is most known for today, do you think?
I think Billie Jean's known for so much. I think she's known for her standing up for women in general, as well as women's tennis. I think she's known as an excellent athlete. I think she's also known as for her stance on gay rights and her private life. And I think she is heralded at all levels of the country because she has made a significant contribution to America. With her life, not just as a sporting hero, but as somebody who's made the world a better place for a lot of people.
Now, tell me why Billie Jean King was chosen. I believe this series, American Masters, has been on the air since 1986, so 96, 06. So we're talking about a long time here. First sports figure?
Yeah, I think American Masters is conceived as a cultural series, and I think, perhaps in the 80s and 90s, people respected athletes less as cultural figures. I think sports has often been a case of what's in front of our face today, and tomorrow is a different host of stars, and perhaps there's few athletes that actually have an impact on the cultural landscape as well as the sporting landscape, the people that actually change the way people think about themselves as well as thinking about the game. And I think that's why Billie Jean King is an excellent choice to be the first sporting figure on American Masters. And I think hopefully she won't be the last figure, but I think the stories need to be big enough to kind of touch, have people that have touched people's lives beyond their excellence at an activity.
Was Martina Navratilova interviewed in this piece that we're going to see Tuesday night?
Martina's not interviewed.
No, well, I find that interesting, and maybe you could, because it struck me conspicuous by her absence. When I read the names of people who were interviewed, like Chris Evert and Margaret Court, Maria Sharapova, Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and I was going to ask you first of all, why Billie Jean and not Martina? Was it because Billie Jean was the forerunner to Martina? Was it because of the Bobby Riggs match? Did that play into it? And then I'll ask you a separate question, which I'll ask you now. You could address both. We'll make this like a presidential press conference where you have to remember both questions. So why Billie Jean and not Martina? And why no Martina? Is there bad blood between them, or she just wasn't available?
There's no bad blood between Martina and Billie Jean King. The reason Billie Jean King is, first of all, she's an American by birth. Secondly, she is the person who almost single-handedly, although not single-handedly, created women's tennis. Martina was an excellent tennis player, but she hasn't changed American society, American hearts and minds in the way Martina, in the way that Billie Jean King has. She was not there in the 60s and the 70s slogging out. I think she came to America in the early 70s and benefited from Billie Jean King's legacy, and I think she would acknowledge that. But the film was very much focused on certain periods. You can't tell every story forensically from cradle to grave, and in fact, we were very much focused on the period up to and the climax of the Bobby Riggs match, the Battle of the Sexes.
Right.
Watched tennis match that changes hearts and minds. You can see a man being beaten by a woman at a man's game. That's pretty significant if that hasn't happened before, and it's incredibly significant as a media event. I mean, sport had never penetrated the cultural consciousness in that way, because it couldn't, because the prevalence of television, sporting events were just seen as sort of lesser. This was actually something being fought as a question of civil rights. I think it's unprecedented. I think it's difficult to think of anything that followed.
Well, let me ask you about that. And we're talking to filmmaker James Erskine, and he put together American Masters Billie Jean King. It's on PBS tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Check your local listings. Bud Collins has come out and said that Bobby Riggs threw that match because he owed the mob money. And he went in depth with a whole, bunch of what he considers documentation, saying that there's a very good possibility that Bobby Riggs lost that. Is that lost that on purpose? Is that addressed at all?
I don't think Bud Collins did say that. I think ESPN ran a story from some guy in Florida who claimed to have overheard a conversation from some gangsters saying that Bobby Riggs was going to throw the match, which to me has no substance. We investigated the story pretty thoroughly, and the idea of some throwing the match. Bobby says he didn't throw the match. Everybody that knows him said he didn't throw the match, and it was close to him. There's a kind of, there's a neat theory. Bobby Riggs is a gambler. He throws the match if you want to believe that he couldn't possibly be beaten by a woman. But which is the more convincing? That a woman could beat a man, or that Bobby was involved in elaborate gambling with the mafia to throw a match when he stood to make millions if he won. I mean, millions. I mean, Joey Perenchio, who's the guy that arranged the match, I interviewed and spoke to him. He's the first interview ever with him. This is a guy who, it's incredibly important. He promoted Ali and Frazier at the Ali Frazier fights. He runs Univision. I asked him, what was in it for Bobby? Why wouldn't he have, why could he not possibly have thrown the match? He's like, Bobby could make millions. He had contracts lined up all around the world. This was his moment. He wasn't worth anything before. He wasn't worth anything to go to people and say, I'm going to be able to go and take on this person or that person. I mean, it's just nonsense, to be honest. It's just nonsense, and it doesn't deserve airtime. Okay, so you said, well, I'm not the only one giving it airtime. CNN gave it a whole lot of airtime. They had Bud Collins on. Maybe I misunderstood what was being said there, because I was under the impression that he was saying that maybe he was saying exactly what you're saying and dispelled that notion. But that is a story that's out there. And finally, let me ask you this: when it comes to the equal prize money, which Billie Jean King was so instrumental in gaining, why should women get the same amount of prize money when they only play the best 2 out of 3? And men play the best 3 out of 5. I never understood that. Okay, well, let's look at this question. Why shouldn't women get it? Well, because they're not playing the same amount of tennis. So why should the prize money be the same? When you go to a music concert, do you evaluate the ticket price on the length of it? Do you do the same on a movie? Of course you don't. Women would play 5 sets. It just can't be scheduled that way. If you ask anyone, wait. It can't. You're telling me it can't be scheduled that way? Yeah, the events don't schedule it. That's why. If you ask the Women's Tennis Association, they will tell you that women will play 5 sets. It's the tournament organizers that elect how it's run. Well, I got a feeling that, I'd like to see documentation of that, but I will be very interested to watch tomorrow night American Masters Billie Jean King on PBS. And James, thank you for your time and for answering the questions. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, folks. I appreciate him coming on. If that's true, if women want to play 5 sets and it can't be fit into the schedule of tournaments, I would be bowled over and shocked beyond belief. I mean, I just don't. I just think it would be a drain on women. To be honest with you, you can't tell me that it's never happened in a major tournament because the schedulers can't fit them in. Come on. Doesn't sound right to me, but nonetheless, I'll be interested to see how they present Billie Jean King. And if I misrepresented Bud Collins, I'm sorry. Like I said, a lot of times I watch CNN and the various cable stations, and they had Bud Collins on, and it said, did Bobby Riggs throw the Billie Jean King match because he owed money to gamblers? And Bud Collins was on there, and I thought it said Collins said it, as they say, but possibly he was disputing that, so I apologize. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting. I'm glad he had a chance to come on as we await tonight's winner of the men's finals at the U.S. Open, which will be 3 sets. Why the women couldn't have had 3 sets yesterday when they were the only match on the card? You telling me they couldn't fit it in? What is there, a curfew at the U.S. Open? They couldn't have started it an hour earlier?
in order to have another set? Come on. That doesn't really, that doesn't really hold water with me. All right. Been a fun show. Tomorrow, we have a great show in store for you. You're not going to want to miss it. More on Syria, more on the 9/11.